How's it going, everyone? Today I'm going to be changing out my factory sub on my 2009 Hyundai Genesis. This is going to be the same process for 2009 to 2014. Beyond that, I couldn't guarantee everything's going to be the same. But if you have a factory 8-inch sub in the rear and it's blown, this is going to be the video for you. Alright, so to get to the factory sub back there, you do have to remove the back seat. It's not terribly difficult, it's just a little intuitive. You just gotta remove a couple clips, take out a couple bolts, and pull the seat down. Before you do anything, disconnect your battery in the trunk right behind the back seat, underneath your floor carpet. Disconnect your negative, that way when you unplug stuff it doesn't hurt or bother anything. There is an airbag connector on this side and that side that you have to disconnect in order to remove the back seat, so that's why I recommend disconnecting the battery. Now the reason why I'm replacing mine, which is right there, the center one, is because I blew it, and I did have some aftermarket 10s in the back, but I recently wanted to fix my factory sub, so I am going to be replacing that. And you could just cut it, do a line out converter, and run aftermarket subs. That's what I did originally, which is why these have crimp connectors on them right here. But if you're wondering how I even got to this part, this is my old line out converter. But what you need to do is, you don't have to take out the floor carpet. I just did it to make it easier. Disconnect your ground, your negative, and then all you gotta do is pull up on your weather stripping right here. Just pull it up, pull it up, pull it up. There's gonna be 3 clips, so this one right here, this one right here, and this one right here. And basically you just gotta push up past it, and then pull it down and drop down. There is going to be 2 more clips right here and right here. These guys, one might stay up there, one can't come down with it. You just gotta lightly pull down on the panel until it pops down, and then that will expose your factory sub. Now if you just want to install an aftermarket sub, I do have a separate video for that. I'll link down in the description. But basically all you got to do is cut these wires, wire in your high-low converter to RCAs, and run the amp off your battery, and that's pretty much it. And then you have aftermarket subs. You do also have to run a signal wire, which is a blue wire right there, right into the front, so when the vehicle turns on, your amp turns on. But I'm not covering that in this video right now. I'm just replacing the factory sub, just because it's been blown for a long time and I just want to replace it. Now I do have the factory connectors still in here, and I'm going to be taking out the harness and resoldering the connectors on there, and that should be fine. My buddy actually did the same thing. If you are going to go the aftermarket route, and you actually only have to tap into this one, you don't even have to tap into this one, you can just leave it disconnected. But on that side, this one is really the only one you actually need to tap into for aftermarket subs. This is because this is a dual voice coil, and if you are replacing the factory sub, make sure you get a dual coil sub, and it also has to be an open air sub. So the reason why it's open air is because this technically doesn't seal like a box. It does have some acoustic padding, but it's not the same as like a fully enclosed box, so you want that open air sub. So my replacement is going to be this 400 watt kicker 8-inch, and the 8-inch should fit perfectly in the stock location. Now I wouldn't recommend anything over 400 watt unless you're going to use an aftermarket amp, which you could, and then still reinstall this in the factory location. You're just also going to need to mount an amp somewhere, the high-low converter, and it's just a lot more work. That's not really necessary because this is a dual voice coil, dual coil sub, so this is made to fit directly into the factory location and plug in like factory. So that's why I got this one. Now if you just want to do like a single coil sub, well, that's an 8-inch, then you could do your high-low converter and an amp, and run as powerful of a sub as you want, depending on how powerful your amp is to run it. But this is the one I'm going to be using, and it is an open air sub. So if you're wondering, you can just look on the ad before you purchase it to make sure that it is an open air sub, not an enclosed sub, and that's the only thing you need. So to take apart your back seat, first thing you need to do after you disconnect your battery is you basically grab right up here, and you're going to need two hands. Basically, just pull up until you hear it pop, like just like that. Mine has been popped out before, so yours is probably going to be a little bit harder. It was a little bit harder the first time. Just pull up until you hear it pop, and then just do the same thing on the passenger side, and you should be able to pull the factory seat out this way. So this one is probably going to be a little bit harder, but there we go. So you just heard it pop. Alright, so once you remove the two clips that are held down right here and there, there's going to be two 12mm bolts, and as you can see, my extension is already going into the seat, but if I lift it, you can kind of see it goes right there. There's going to be one right there and another one right there. Just go ahead and loosen and remove the two bolts, and then your seat should just come up and out. Okay, so once you remove both of these bolts, there's one right here, and there's another one over there, all you gotta do is lift up and slide it out, just like that. And yes, my seat is a little dirty. It's been trapped underneath there for years, so I'm gonna vacuum that out, but don't be surprised if your looks dirty too. But go ahead and just pick up and remove your bottom seat now. So once you remove the back seat, what you're going to need to do next is remove 4 12mm bolts. So there's going to be one right here, one right here, one right here, and another one over there. And then you're also going to need to remove 3 14mm bolts for the seat belt. So one right here, one, and that one over there. And just go ahead and remove those, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so now once you remove all these bolts, these ones will most likely just stay in there, that's fine. What you're going to want to do is on top right here, just go ahead and move the seat belt up and out of the way. Careful not to scratch your paint. And same thing on the other side. But to get the back seats out, they are in like these little like downward clip things. So what you're going to need to do is basically pull up and out. It's easier if you put one hand down here and another hand right on top, and basically when you pull up, you pull back with this hand, and you might need to raise up a little higher before you can actually pull back on it, but it should just pop out. Okay. Alright, so once you do get the seat separated, just to give you guys an example of what you're fighting up against, the seat sits in like these little channel locks, which clip into like these little, I know it's kind of hard to see, but these little metal U-shaped things, and then so there's 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, and then 4 all the way at the end. And so you do have to lift the seat pretty high to get them out of there before you can pull it. And make sure you're doing side to side, don't just like rip up on only on one side expecting it to come out. You got to do up on the passenger side, up on the driver's side, vice versa, until it comes out. And then also don't just rip the seat forward, because you do have 2 airbag connections. And to remove these connections, all you got to do is on this little white tab right here, right there, pull that little flat tab down, and it will just disconnect. I'll see if I can do this with one hand. There we go. So basically all I did is this is a little spring-loaded thing right here. You just slide down on it, and then it'll just slide off of that. And now your back seat is free. You, like I said before, you do have to slide it out beyond that little other seat belt right there, just to get it out of there. But then once you do that, you can just remove it completely. Alright, so after you remove the back cushion, that is completely the back seat removed. Now you have access to a few things here. Your fuel pump and the back liner, which is what I'm personally going to be tackling next. But if you're just doing this to get to your fuel pumps, then well, there you go. Now to remove the back liner is going to be a little bit more tricky. So this is the part that I haven't personally done yet, so I'm just going as learning as I go. So I know it's 1, 2, 3 bolts, and then I know that this back corner tucks into that, so I know you have to like kind of pry up in the center and pull it out from underneath there. And yeah, I'll update you guys once I figure something out. Okay, so the next step after you remove the 3 bolts, so 1, 2, and 3, is to remove this back pillar cover. And I've already done it on that side, and I just wanted to do it that way just to make sure I knew how to do it before I told you guys how to do it. So basically what you want to do is you grab this little SRS airbag thing, and you basically just pull it out, just like that. Now you're going to grab your 10mm with an extension, go ahead and just feed it in there, and you should feel it latch onto a bolt. Go ahead and just remove the bolt. keep it twisting until you remove it, just like that. So make sure the bolt comes out. If it doesn't come out, it's fine. Just make sure it's not in there anymore. Now the next part, I recommend having like a trim tool. That way you don't scratch anything. This is just a plastic little trim tool. And what I want to do is just stick it right in there between there, and you'll see this pop out. Now when it pops out, just grab it with your thumb and just go ahead and be gentle but also aggressive and kind of just pull down on it. It's easier with two hands, but also one step before you do that, what I forgot to mention is what I did on that side is go ahead and just pull your trim out of the way and make this job a little bit easier, and that way you're not fighting it. So just like that, pull your trim out of the way, and now you can start pulling it down. And just like that, it popped out. There's going to be one more clip down here. And just gently, you don't want to break the panel. There you go. So just like that, and you can pull it out of the way. So this is the one clip, and then this is the other clip right here. This rusty piece right here from metal is what the trim sits in, so you don't have to mess with that at all. Just go ahead and set that out of the way. Make sure you don't lose your bolt. And the reason why we did that is because it actually latches into the carpet right here on the back, and so you can't remove this easily unless you move that, and then putting it back is just going to be a pain in the ass. So it's better just to do it right. Remove the side pillars. And now what I also found on that, just lift that up. I don't think it plays any part, but just in case, lift that up and then grab underneath it and just push it up and pop out. Now once it is popped out, I'm not sure if there's a center clip or not. I don't want to break anything, but I'm going to try to grab it on both sides and just kind of shimmy it back and forth and see if I can just pull it down. I don't think there's any back screws right there. I think it's just press fit in, like slid in that way. So I'm going to try to shimmy it and pull it out and see if that works. If there are any screws, I'll recap with you in a second. Okay, so to remove that back panel, I did find two clips that you're going to have to use some pliers with and pinch and push up to basically get the center of the free panel, or center of the cover panel up. And so they're going to be right here next to the sub, and another one on the other side of the sub. And this is towards the back of the car. You got to pinch them together and then push them up, pinch it and push it up. And those are the ones that sit like right in there. Yes, I know my car's dirty. I'm going to wash it right after this, but now that you pinch those and push them up, as you can see, the panel just does want to come forward. So I'm going to go to that other side now and shimmy it out. And basically what you can do is just pop these off, just like that. And then you can feed this through right here, and then the whole panel will come out. Good time to actually get some of those crevices clean and whatnot that haven't seen light in, well, mine's an 09, so a long time. And just to give you guys an example about how badly blown my sub is. Yeah, this should still be connected to this ring right here, and it's completely shut. So now we have access to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and take out the 410s and go ahead and unclip this, and you can take your factory 8-inch sub out. Good in time to inspect the other cones on these other little speakers, because if those are blown, you might as well just unplug them unless you have replacements to swap them with. Mine look okay, at least on this side. I'm gonna go check the other side, so I'm probably gonna leave them plugged in. But yeah, now we have access to this sub, so that's pretty cool. Alright, so it's been probably like an hour or two since I last recapped with you guys. Sorry for the background noise, but the sub is mounted. And before you say anything, yes, that is a cardboard isolation ring that I kind of just threw together because I didn't have any styrofoam. Now you can use cardboard, styrofoam, actual foam if you have any, but all I had was styrofoam. And it may not look pretty, but it's efficient and it seals up the sub well, so that's what matters. But anyway, I was only able to get 4 screws in, and I did have to drill and tap some new holes. I just used a metal drill bit and a punch to start the drill bit. And the 2 front ones are easy to drill from the inside. The back 2 I did drill from inside the trunk up, and then just basically made the cardboard isolation ring and secured it down with the 4 screws. Now this thing is solid, it's not moving or anything, so that's perfectly fine. you know, it's going to be covered up and everything, so I'm not worried about the cardboard. And if anything, if there's any moisture in the car, the cardboard itself will, you know, soak it up versus any of the components getting corroded or rusted. So, you know, win-win. And if it does swell up a little bit, it was just going to seal even better. So I'm not, you know, worried about it or anything. As long as it's solid, it's not going to vibrate or anything, and it is solid. So, pretty pleased with that. Now, what I got to do is pretty much put it all back together and test it. I would like to test it as it is right now, but with the airbag stuff and everything unhooked, I'm not, you know, about to plug the battery in and test it like this. Theoretically, I could just put this back seat in without putting the back cover on. Yes, my window's dirty, I'm going to clean it, but again, I don't really want to leave anything unplugged and plug the battery in. So this is the back of the sub, or underneath the sub in the trunk, and as you can see, it looks pretty much factory, bigger magnet, and yeah, these are the connections. I did do like a split off right here because I also have I also have 12s. I'm going to wire into my high-low converter, and then this is just going to plug in. So this is going to go to the high-low converter for the RCAs to the other amp for the sub. The sub itself is going to get powered off the factory amp, and then this is for this side as well. So that's how I'm going to do that. And here's my high-low converter, just sitting on the side. But so these two right here, this and this is going to plug right in here. It's got this I'm going to leave unhooked and test with the multimeter to figure out which one's positive, which one's negative. I think the black is power and the green is ground, but I don't want to hook it up backwards because you know, it probably wouldn't hurt anything. It's going to sound weird, but I'm just going to test it this way before actually plugging it in. And yeah, probably going to cap these off for the meantime, or just hook it up to my high-low converter, which is right there, and just let it sit up here. But in the meantime, that's where I'm at the moment. Alternatively, if you have like a jigsaw, you could, as you can see, I kind of started cutting at this. You could actually trim off like this ridge all along this, and basically secure your sub to this ring, and then use the factory bolts to mount the sub in there. But this is like really hard plastic, and I couldn't get the outer ring off easily, so I decided to abandon this project and instead just go with the cardboard isolation ring. But this is a good option, just if you have tools to cut that outer ring off, this could work, you know, better for you. And then, so these are the 12s I'm going to be using, and it's going to have an aftermarket 8 running on the factory amp, and then the two 12s running on an aftermarket amp.